Hello there. My name is Ross Maynard from Ideas into Action, our website ideas2action.co.uk. And today I want to present to you the concept of the three laws of improvement. This is the idea that we should actually use um, principles for process improvement rather than getting hung up too much on different methodologies. There are many different methodologies out there, and that can be very confusing, causing concern that we're perhaps not using the right methodology or spending time analyzing different methodologies to see which is appropriate to us. Actually, I think we should perhaps not worry too much about methodologies, not get too hung up on tasks and checklists, but actually we should start our process improvement activity from the basis of some clear principles. And those are what I've called the three laws of improvement, which I want to present to you just now. So rather than getting worried up on all these improvement methodologies that are available to you, Six Sigma, Lean, the Joiner seven-step method, practical process improvement, theory of constraints, etc., perhaps we should focus instead on principles for process improvement and start our process improvement activity based on those principles rather than any particular method. And my view is that if we adhere to these principles, which I've called the three laws of improvement, then our chances of success and of sustained improvement are greatly increased. So what are the three laws of improvement? Well, these are not developed from years of university research or anything like that, but actually from my personal experience of 20 plus years, 25 years, working with organizations and businesses of all different sizes and seeing what works in terms of improvement and also what hasn't worked, how have organizations not been successful with improvement. So the first of these three laws, as I suggest, is that many small changes in a process add up to large improvements at the system level. The second law of improvement is that the people in the process are best placed to understand its problems and constraints, and therefore best placed to improve their process. And the third law of improvement is the effect of blame is to push information about mistakes underground and therefore make it impossible to improve those mistakes. So I'm going to look at each of these three areas in a little bit more depth now. So the first law is that many small changes add up to large improvements at the system level. And this is the doctrine of marginal gains. And I've done a short video of the doctrine of marginal gains on my YouTube channel, should you wish to look at it. Its basic idea is that if we improve each step in a process by 1%, then we will get major gains at the top level. Even better, if we work to eliminate unnecessary or duplicated steps, if we can combine steps, if we simplify other steps, then we'll get really significant efficiency gains in our processes. And the best way to deliver these many small improvements at each step in the process is to harness the energy of those people working in the process. And this is, of course, the second law, which we'll come to in a moment. This concept of marginal gains is a great way to get started with process improvement, though. It gets people involved and enthused, working on their own processes with the sort of empowerment to improve those processes. It really builds confidence, it builds skills, it builds morale. So it's a great and very cost-effective way to deliver improvement. The second law of improvement is that the people in the process are best placed to improve it. It's obvious that your people know your processes better than anyone, particularly anyone outside that you might bring in. So they know the barriers, they know the constraints, they know the problems, they know where the errors occur. Given time to work together and some training in simple methods, they can implement improvements that will really add up at the top level very cost effectively. Engaging your people in this way is also a major boost to their enthusiasm and their morale. It will help teamworking and communication. It will really build the culture of your organization. Using your own people is also much more cost effective than using consultants. All it takes is some investment in training, problem solving training, and to devote some time to improvement. And I suggest half a day per week for each team. That might be in the form of a day per fortnight or a couple of days workshop per month. Management, of course, must provide the support and air cover to help remove obstacles and facilitate change, particularly where there are issues between different departments or different teams. The third law of improvement is that the effect of blame is to push mistakes underground. So blame is where you criticize people for making mistakes or errors or for not meeting targets. In actual fact, most problems, errors, and mistakes are caused by issues with the process, weaknesses in the process, rather than by individuals. Most people come to work wanting to do a good job. If they make errors, it's because something in the process has allowed those errors to be made. Something is not right with the process. In addition, not meeting targets is usually a symptom of an unstable process rather than an issue with an individual's performance. So it's all about the process. And the question we should be asking is, what is it about this process that allows these mistakes or performance issues to arise? And we should be addressing those issues. And unless we encourage the open discussion of mistakes and errors without any blame or finger pointing, then we'll never be able to learn from those errors and improve them. So we need to eliminate blame from our culture. How might we make a start with the 3 laws of improvement? Well, creating a culture of improvement is about people feeling free to raise issues and concerns about their processes and to come together to resolve those issues. So consult with your work teams, pick a dysfunctional process to start on, and with the process team that work in that area, map the process and go into detail about its problems, its constraints, the risk points, and the delays. And then work together as a team to address the problems and constraints and to minimize the risks and delays. It's a very simple approach. It's a very powerful approach because it engages everybody. So I've devised sort of 3 steps to go with the 3 laws of improvement. The first is who are the customers of the process and what do they need from the process? How does a process currently work? How effective is it? Where do the delays, risk points, and errors arise? And thirdly, how can we improve the process to reduce the risks and errors and delays? And actually, I didn't tell you up till now, but there is a 4th law of improvement. We should never forget the customer. So the 4th law of improvement is always focus on the customer. Anything that doesn't benefit the customer in the process should be eliminated. Controls and checks which are required should be the minimum required to be effective. So a little bit about the 4th law. The customer is the person who defines the purpose of the process. The outcomes of the process should be what the customer actually wants. So therefore, it's very important to understand what the customer's requirement really is in terms of the outcomes that they want, the service level that they require, quality, price, and delivery. All this is customer value. It's called the voice of the customer in Six Sigma and Lean, and it requires us to talk to the customers of the process, internal or external customers, to try and understand what they really want from it. And then we should seek to focus the process on maximizing that value to the customer. We should structure the organization around delivering value to the customer, not about suiting internal or functional operations. And we should ensure that everyone in the organization understands that the customer comes first. So to summarize then, the 3+1 laws of improvement. The first law is that many small changes add up to large improvements at the top level, so we can get teams working on their own process areas to improve, and those impacts will have a significant outcome at the system level. The second law is that the people in the process are best placed to improve it. The third law is that we should eliminate blame because the effect of blame is to push mistakes underground. And the fourth law of improvement is that we should always focus on the customer and eliminate work that does not benefit the customer. And as we're talking about a principle-based approach to process improvement, I just want to chuck in here some other principles that we might use to help shape our improvement activities. So there are 10 principles here. This is not necessarily an exclusive list. There may well be more, but these are 10 important ones that I've sort of experienced in my work. Firstly, we should enable the customer to drive the process. So the concept of self-service through online portals and so on. Secondly, we should serve the customer, not the process. So we should focus on the voice of the customer rather than internal efficiencies or internal patches, functional areas, etc. We should do the work as close to the customer as possible to minimize handoffs, because handoffs always cause mistakes, errors, and problems with communication. We should enable the customer to understand where they are on their journey by providing some sort of visibility, ability to track, if you like, their order, their requirement through the process. We should provide escape routes for non-standard work and work that requires additional attention. We should build quality assurance into the process so that we check work at the correct point. We don't duplicate checks. We don't have excessive checks and audits, etc. We should allow flexibility in skills and in our people in order to meet peaks and troughs across processes, respond to peaks in demand, etc. We should directly integrate data between systems because rekeying is a major source of error in processes. We should share common process steps between processes for maximum efficiency. And we should separate steps out that can be completed offline so that when there are peaks in demand, work for those offline steps can be sort of held in stock, if you like, for when the activity calms down and we can then address them. So thank you very much for your time. That was the 3 laws of improvement plus 1 law. My name is Ross Maynard and our company is Ideas into Action, ideas2action.co.uk. Thank you very much for listening. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.